Hi everyone, and welcome to our Entrepreneur Mastermind Q&A for this is for May, and I am going to be sharing a shorter video because we have less questions. Maybe people are on holiday, but a couple of things that are very exciting happening. We have our IPO happening, so if you're not part of that yet, go look for the links because that's super exciting. And the second thing that's happening is that we have our Entrepreneur Mentor certification program, which is super duper exciting because it's something that allows everyone to become part of it. You'll see an email that you can become part of this as well. And we're going to have many new people come and join our Entrepreneur Mastermind as a result of this because everyone who comes on board will have that as part of the whole package. And the good news about that is it means that we are going to have a lot of really awesome people come join us, and we're going to rebrand Entrepreneur Mastermind to Genius Entrepreneur Mastermind, GEM, which means that we're all gems. Okay, so here we go. We're going to jump into the questions. First one is from Jung. He says, for someone at Blue Level that has over $5 million in residential property in a market that's about to slow down, how do you recommend they generate cash flow while there is less movement in the property market, i.e. less properties being bought and sold and restrictions on finance, meaning less leverage lending is available for themselves and their client? Okay, so first of all, think about when things are moving through cycles as seasons, right? So you say, oh, what happens when we go into winter season? And the answer is you buckle down. That's what you do. And the most important thing is cash flow. Right? Because basically, if you're in a high frothy market, you can buy something and think it's going to go up, but that's not going to happen in winter. So you have to make a return on cash flow. So what I recommend that every property investor does, actually at every level, but especially during winter level, is basically get yourself a very simple page where you can put 5 columns. Right? Column number 1 is after you put down every one of your properties, what is your gross asset value? Like if you just were to go and buy that today, how much would that property cost you, right? Secondly is what's your liability. So if you've got a mortgage, so if you have $100,000, let's make $1 million. $1 million property with $500,000 in the mortgage, and then you've got the third thing. So you've got gross asset value, you've got liabilities, and then you've got net asset value, which is one minus the other, right? So that means that if you were to sell the property and pay back the bank the $500,000, you'll be left with $500,000, right? So it's the remainder, which is your net asset value. That's the most important number because that's the actual real cash that's available that should be making money for you, right? Then the final two are the most important, right? The fourth one is your return on investment, but not any kind of return on investment. It's your return on cash investment, which means that you're basically not worrying about if it's going up and down in value. You're saying, how much cash am I actually getting from this? And the final one's the percentage ROI, right? So let's say, for example, the $500,000 in net asset value, that property is making you, let's call it 50 grand a year. And that's after your mortgage costs, it's after your repairs, right? It's after managing the property. It's your net, right? So it's like, oh, look, I get 50 grand from that 500,000. That would mean that your cash return on investment is 10%. You go, okay, if you're doing 8% through to 30% on a property, then you're in the right ballpark, right? If you're doing less than that, which means that you're actually maybe you're making nothing on your property, or maybe it's negative, right? Then that's not a good thing because it means that if you had that 500,000, you could do more with it. If you're getting zero from it, why would you just have it sitting there? It's just devaluing, right? And some of us have that locked into a property where we go, well, I can't sell the property because then I'll lose money. It's like, well, you're already losing money, so why not just sell it and take that 500,000 and put it somewhere where it actually is making a higher return? So this is not like, oh, just do all of this with your property. It's actually looking at all your properties to say, okay, if I look at all of them, these ones are doing well. I'm going to keep those. I'm going to maximize those. Oh, I'm actually going to even increase the return on investment, cash return on investment on those. Don't have to worry if it's going up and down. These ones here, I should sell them right now, right? You say, oh, but it's not a good market to sell. It doesn't matter. The fact is, if you were to sell it, because it's not a good market to sell, it's also a great market to buy, which means you can go and get an even better deal with another property in the same market, which is going to give you cash return, and now you're recycling that into something new. So really keep remembering that when you're at yellow level, it's all about time into team, which means you're saying, okay, my time has to keep on going up, up, up every single month to be better and better high-performing time. Well, exactly the same with blue level is from asset to appreciation. You've got to keep on looking at how you're recycling the money you've got to have higher and higher appreciation of that money. And if you've got money in buckets which aren't working for you, recycle them out and put them where they will work for you, and then everything starts cycling higher. And that's the key to a great wealth creator. If you do that, you don't have to get money from banks because you'll have investors, partners who'll be happy to work with you because you're getting a better return than they're able to get themselves as well. All right. Okay, let's come over to Rami's next. So Rami's has here a question from Mexico. Hi Roger, I launched my first promotion for swimwear. My birds are going crazy outside. Collective photo production. So this all came from our mentoring here. I've got calls with 10 of the 15 swimwear main brands, which is awesome. 60% of them showed interest already. I found out that brands have different schedules for when they do their collection shoots, 20% in August, 30% in November, and so on. Even though they like my portfolio, it seems they have their own timing, and just a few of them would be interested in my promotion. Okay, so my question, how do I create more sense of urgency? Or should I just keep patiently focusing, developing my relationships, using Instagram and so on? Yeah, so don't expect the very first time, ta-da, suddenly you're making all this money, right? Set your schedule. Keep saying this is what you're going to do. This is the amount of time you actually have. Sorry, guys, I got a bit of a flu here. If you do that, pardon me. If you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to, let's say you have like slots for 5, and let's say 3 take the slots. Well, great. That means that at least you can get started, and you can start showing the other ones who missed out afterwards, hey, this is what I actually did, right? Use the other 2 slots on spec. Take some of their stuff, from their last collection. Get your models to wear those as well. Send to them, hey, I know you didn't pay me for this, but I'm showing you what I can actually do. And by the way, these guys who did, look at how much I'm doing for them. I just did a few for you, but I would love to do more for you as well. And then basically that way, they're going, oh, this guy really is serious about working with us. And look, his stuff's actually pretty good, right? Then you're going to be way better off. Create your own calendar off the back of it as well. So you're actually saying, and by the way, you actually got your own stuff. Use that Instagram. Instagram's not going to be used for going out and finding new clients. It's going to be used for building your social proof, building followers, getting models to want to, come and get photographed for you because you've got 100,000 people following you on Instagram, right? So always know that the more you're creating supply, the more that demand grows, and the more you create demand, the more supply grows. So use every one of these as a way to either be creating more demand, or if you haven't got the more demand yet, you're still doing the job, and then you're creating more supply, right? And vice versa. So that's what I say with you. The fact you're on the mission and you're going with it is great. The fact that people already know of you, you can come back to them saying, hey, if you're not ready right now, I'm going to keep coming back to you because I really want to work with you, and here's the stuff I'm doing, and here's the results of it. And then they're going to, at some point, go really take notice of you because of your commitment to that, right? Saeed from streamline.com. Biggest questions. I can see the massive benefits of collaborating with other profiles after working with my cousin and now with this new joint venture. I remember if I'm a star blaze, there are 2 other types I have to find to work with from the profile square. Could you remind me who they are, and also because it's taking some time to get results for my first client, should I do some digital marketing to get more clients? Definitely, if you're a digital marketing company, you should be using digital marketing to get more clients. Like the most important thing that people are looking for is proof, right? Especially when you're starting. So if you don't yet have the proof, you want to make sure you're working with others, or even taking on a client for free to prove the results you can get to someone. And then, of course, others will take notice as well, because everyone wants results, everyone wants solutions. They just don't trust you can get it yet because you haven't actually shown anyone you can get it. So show the proof, and you're going to be way more in flow in being able to get that business coming your way. So if you're, let's say, a supporter, the triangle is 1, 2, 3. So a supporter should start over for a trader, because the trader will look after all those connections. And then after that, the 3, 1, 2, 3 is mechanic, which will then manage this is like the triangle, which means the stool can stand up, right? If you don't have that triangle, the thing will fall over. Creator is number 1, number 2 is supporter. They need a supporter to manage their businesses for them. 1, 2, 3 is accumulator. That's the one who do all the financing, all the numbers, all the planning, right? That's again another triangle. If you're a star, then the next person, 1, 2, is a deal maker. Every great star's got their agent or got their deal maker doing the deals for them. And then 1, 2, 3 is the Lord who does all the back end, right? So it's always about creating a triangle. As Pythagoras says, create the triangle, and the problem is 2/3 solved. All right, let's come to Ivan next, transformwithin.com. I'm currently making short documentaries. These are city stories about people who show me their favorite spots in the city. They could be business owners, musicians, or even everyday people. The goal of these documentaries is to offer more exposure in a creative way. By taking the documentary route, the viewer gets more in depth of the person's brand, talent, personality, and vision of the world. Basically, this is about the stories behind these places. Every story is a short video of 77 seconds at max. Wow, okay, those are short, all right. Now imagine a long 15 to 28-minute documentary, but now every segment is cut into short videos. Okay, I got it. So in its current form, these documents are delivered on a YouTube playlist as free content. Question, how would you monetize something like this? You're looking to monetize it because the musicians are actually, I'm going to go to your website because I thought the musicians are paying you for this. If you're doing it to them for free, why would you do that? Hang on. Let me see if I can just open Transform Within and see if you have any on there. By the way, the first way to monetize anything if you're going to be on YouTube is basically have enough views that you can actually then turn the advertising on, right? But that means you actually have to have something great enough that people actually want it. Okay, I'm on you. Okay, I see it. All right, so you got here. The session was eye-opening. Get a free best you 33 years stuck transform. No, it doesn't look like you got videos here. that you're using, right? Let me just go to your Facebook page and have a look there. Okay, I'm on it right now. Right, so yeah, so at the moment, it looks to me like you're not at the moment using this transform within video, or you haven't started using it yet for what you're talking about here. So it sounds like it's something quite new. So on that basis, what I would say is don't try and start by monetizing content, whether it's a video or whether it's a blog. Like trying to get people to basically pay for content will not work right now because content's free. Getting someone to try and sponsor and advertise the content will work. Like if you actually go to a musician and say, right, I'm going to do these pieces for you, but you have to have social proof already for people to go, oh, I saw what you did for such and such. I want you to do that for me as well. So you can basically do, same thing Ramos is doing, which is basically like, set a plan, a promotion plan to have a certain number of people you're going to work with, get people on the bus or not, and then from there, the ones who aren't, get them on for free anyway. So at least you then deliver the products. The number of people I know who have a product that's not proven and isn't delivered, who somehow think someone's going to pay you money for it, it's not going to happen. You have to basically, first of all, deliver and get to the result, because people are never buying the product, they're buying the result. People aren't looking for products, they're looking for solutions to their problems. So show them the solution to the problem that actually is a real solution, and then they'll go, then I'm going to buy from you, right? So that's basically if you're going to get those people to be investing. The second people that you can get outside of that is going to be the sponsors, right? It's going to be people who are going to be paying you to actually be on those as well. But like I said, start by getting it out there and getting some social proof that it's working. And then I can give you a better comment as to what you can do to monetize. To give you an example, and the third thing is basically you're leading them to something which actually is real value. So for example, you go to somebody, who's got a great brand and who has great music, and you say, I'm going to do some videos for you. I'm going to put it online. I'm going to direct people to your new album or to your new concert. Right? And then they start generating money from that, and you're getting a percentage of that. Back-end sales is one of the easiest ways of content, because once someone builds trust that this is worth my time, then they're going to look for ways that they can actually spend money to get their time back, but now they're willing to spend money because it's worth their money, right? So for you to then say, right, I'll do a percentage off the back onto other people's stuff, that can work as well, right? That's definitely an option. Okay, let's come over next. We're going to come up to Jan. Jan says, hey, Roger. First of all, thank you so much for doing what you do. Thank you, Jan. After taking the Wealth Dynamics test, I have turned my business and life around completely. I'm a creative profile with a lot of dynamo, and after taking the test, I tapped into my unique ability to come up with ideas, and now position myself as an idea guy, helping people come up with ideas. All right, so idea is then what it makes sense and aligns to, I'm looking for the question here, plus I can help these people raise funding for $5 million and up to create the business. Yeah, you mentioned this last time, I think. Anyway, I did one of these sessions for free, got a great review, good, and it's now ready to get paying clients. Okay, so I've been out of the game for 5 years due to mental illness and have no network. So my question is, how would you go about securing the first client when starting out? I have a webinar providing value and selling the solution. Thank you so much. Okay, so those of you who are at the very beginning stage do know that money is flowing every day, right? And it's always flowing to one of two things. It's either flowing to what is 100% trusted, or it's flowing to what's 100% tested. It's one or the other, right? No one's giving money to something to say, I'll just throw my money at something hoping it might work, right? It's not going to happen. So 100% trusted means that they know this person delivers results. Every time they see this person deliver, they get results. So they're willing to try something new even. If I, for example, I have people who trust me. So if I go, hey guys, I've got a new retreat, or I've got a new product, there'll be people who go, Roger, I'm going to buy your product just because I trust you. So you have to start by being 100% trusted, which becomes 100% from track record. If you don't have the track record yourself yet, partner with someone who does. Because if you can't sell their stuff, if you can't sell the best in the world, you're not going to sell your own stuff either, right? If you've got someone who's got a solution which is trusted, right, then you want, or in this case tested, then you want to pass it on to someone else. So the first thing is some people trust people, they're willing to pay the money. The second thing is they might not know you, so how can they trust you? But you've got a product that they can trust because it's been tested and it's got those results. When you're in a startup, you're not 100% trusted, you're not 100% tested. In fact, you could be 0% trusted and 0% tested, and that's no place to start, right? That's like digging for a river in a desert. It isn't ever going to start. So if you're in that place, which is like, how do I just sell a product? I'll run webinars, people will come on board, I'll help them make it $5 million. And the moment you have someone who's interested in that, they say, have you ever done this before? Nope, I haven't done it before. Well, do you have customers like that? Nope, I don't have any customers. Like, of course, they're going to figure that out for themselves. And no matter how good your idea might be, they're not going to buy from you. So the most important thing for you to do is not to try and sell your product at this point. The most important thing for you to do is go and work in a team of others where you can use your Wealth Dynamics profile to be of value to them, where they know that if they could get some of their own time back to do the same thing you're trying to do, but they just do it better or they've done it for longer, then they're going to make more money and you can then make some money from that money. Right? So just always know it's always going to come not by trying to start up a business from scratch where you don't have any credibility and you're still low in confidence. It's about you connecting up with a team where you can actually be of value and they'll see more value from you, not because they're actually needing you to basically prove that your time or your product or your ideas are worth it. They're just looking for you to have a certain level of expertise which allows them to get their time back. The value is not in your time, the value is in their time. And the fact that you're going to help them get some of their time back, and they know the value of their time because they're 100% trusted in what they can do with their time. So if I want to make $1,000, I can either go out there and try and sell a product for $1,000, and if no one knows me, I'll be trying forever. Or I can go to someone that I know that every hour of their time is worth $100, right, or $1,000, and I'll say, look, I'll give you 10 hours of your time back, right, because I'm going to help you by doing your emails. I'm going to help you by whatever it is I can do to help you. And that person goes, cool, I get my time back, right? I'll make more money with that time. And off the back of that, you then basically, as long as you're solving a problem 10 times bigger than the one you're trying to solve for yourself, you help make someone $10,000. Getting 10% of that and making $1,000 of that is actually quite easy to do, right? So there's people out there already who are in the business of doing what you're doing. Get connected with them, learn from them, and then support them. Okay, we're going to come to Allison next, the crew coach. Any tips for getting greater engagement in member groups? I.e. who have a group similar to your EI Facebook member group, where we have a community manager who's posting lots of great content, adding lots of value, but we're really struggling to get people engaged. The members all have a strong desire to work in the yachting industry, and we're giving them everything they want and need, but seeing tumbleweed in the group. Any ideas? Well, first thing is, if you're not yet in our group, the Entrepreneur Movement, it's a Facebook group, it's a closed group, you need to basically join it, and then when you're in that group, you'll notice if you do that right now, there's over 10,000 members. I think we're probably, when you're watching this, up to 11,000. And we only started 2 weeks ago. So how is that possible? Well, it happens, and if you look at the engagement in it, it's very high engagement. There's like some post in there where I said, hey, tell everyone where you're from, where we have like 600 comments in there. So what's going on? How is that possible? And it's possible because we ran the whole thing as a promotion. We said there's a beginning and end to this thing. There's actually a date at the top saying that basically it finishes on the 6th of June, right? It's like, it's all there. So the most important thing is for you to be actually not just getting people in and they're saying, why am I here? But in for a reason, and then getting there to actually get connected with them. And don't expect to have a lot of engagement when you only got a couple of hundred people, right? You're better off starting a page, getting it to a certain size before you're looking for that engagement, and then you're going to get the engagement. You look at how we're doing with our ones, it has everything to do with if you've got a smaller group, what's the experience you created them where they got to an event or they got to a webinar, they got to something where they're having a conversation, and you're bringing that conversation back onto that group. We're saying, hey, we're going to actually use, you see us do this, right? It's like we're going to use this to have all our comments. And then everyone else goes, oh, look, these guys are chatting in there. So it brings them back again and again because there's that activity. But if there's no activity in there and there's no reason for people to be in there, obviously, you're not going to get any activity either, right? But it's all about the fact that people say, this is worth my time because there's something going on in there right now. And you're going to make it worthwhile where there's something going on. If there's not, people don't engage for the sake of it. Everyone's too busy to do that. So it's got to start by you actually saying, hey, we've got this great thing happening, this next month, this is going to be taking place. I'd love to hear from you on this and this, or what's your biggest challenge that you've got right now? It's like click here if you're interested in this. And you might find a bunch of people join this thing, they're not even interested. So kick them out, right? You don't need to have people in there as a dead weight for others, in the same way that if you're trying to have a dance party and half the people are sitting on the floor and they're not even dancing, you want to get them off the dance floor, right? So just be really, really aware you're better off with 10 very highly engaged people together in a chat than you are to have like 100 people that aren't speaking to each other. Okay, so next, let's come up to Glenn and Jane. Magnetic, looking for a new head of sales. It's imperative to find the right person to motivate, energize, sell, and be analytical with the data in order to grow our business. What type of profile suits this best? The answer is nobody. You're saying, how do I find a steel and dynamo person together? You won't. That doesn't mean you won't have some people that are able to be strategic and look at the numbers, but to have them to be analytical at the same time as be blazy and be out there is just not going to happen, right? I mean, unless you're super, super rare to find someone that can do both things, and then very difficult to find. But you don't need to find someone that can do both things, because you can have one person who's just great at being out there connecting with others, and then you can have one person who basically is able to support them with all the numbers and all the detail as well, which is the way you need to do it, right? So, look, when it comes to something like sales or leadership, every time I've gone out to find the best people, The great thing about something like sales and leadership is they're much easier to meet than, let's say, steel accountants, right? Because you can't actually go and have a meeting with someone who's a steel accountant. You can go out and find people who you can meet with who are head of sales. And how? By being their customer. So when I started, first of all, in publishing, but this also happened in events, so it's in your field. First thing I would do is I say, who are my top competitors, right? Who are the people who are leading the market, whether they're competing with me or not? They're guys who know what they're doing. They must have strong sales teams to do that, right? I find out who they are. I wouldn't stop until I find at least 10 of them, right? So now you've got 10. It's like my mission is to go out and meet their sales team, meet their head of sales. So I would then actually contact them personally myself, because this was like really important to do to get the right person. And I say, hey, this is who we are. We're an event company, or at the beginning, we're a publishing company. We've got some great ideas of how I think that we've got clients that might be right for you. At the same time, there could be some collaboration in some way. I like to just like go out for a coffee, have a chat, see if there's some partnership opportunity. They never say no. That's their job, is to actually get together with people to find opportunities, right? I'd then meet up with them, and the first part of the conversation was always about the company. It's like, what's your goals right now? What are you trying to achieve? How can I be of service to you to achieve your goals? Everyone's going to tell you those things, because for them, they're looking for people that can help them out, right? I would genuinely be looking to see if there's a way I can help their company. Because if I can make them look good, how awesome would that be? And you always find great opportunities out of this in terms of collaborations and ways of working together. And it could be because we're going to refer customers to them. It could be because we're going to co-collaborate on an event or on a production. But there'll be something that will come out of that every time, right? Which is always a good thing. But the second thing is I'll get a sense of, first of all, how they're operating, how they found that job. I'll get into personal questions about themselves because I'm interested in them. And it's like, well, what got you into publishing in the first place? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Right? And you find very quickly from those conversations who's unhappy in their job, who'd rather be doing something different, who's actually very happy and they don't want to go anywhere. And the ones who are like very happy, you leave it at that. But if someone's like, yeah, I think I'll probably leave, or I'm not sure if I'll be in this, I don't even know if I'll be in this country, where I'll be in the future. It's like, well, that's kind of interesting. We're doing this and this and this. Maybe we should catch up again. And that's as far as you take it. But now you actually go from that top 10 to now business opportunities. And also, you've now got a talent pool of people to call back on again. Leave it a couple of weeks, leave it a month, get back in contact with the best people. Hey, I'd love to have a conversation with you again. I'm looking to pick, brains of people that I've met recently, because we're growing really fast at the moment. And I'd love to get just some of your ideas in terms of, like advice, because I found it really valuable last time we were together. And at the same time, I want to follow up on what we were talking about earlier. We have another conversation, right? And I found all my best sales team from that, where people at some point are like, really like what you're doing. And I'd be saying, look, I'm really looking for someone that can actually help me in the sales team right now. Who would you recommend? Who would you suggest? And I'd never actually say directly, like, I want to offer you a job. But you would find the right people in the right way would actually say, well, you know what? That actually suits me really well. I would be really interested in just finding out more about what you're up to and what you're doing. It does not happen in 1 week. It doesn't even happen in 1 month. But if you do this regularly, just by meeting people in the marketplace, within 3 months, you always have a talent pool of people you can draw on, right? And especially in the sales and marketing side, if you don't have that talent pool of people, or people who know people, and half the people I would find in those times would be people where it wouldn't even be them. They'd say, I've got a friend who I want you to meet because this person here is looking for a job right now, or I've got someone who, so you would actually through those referrals find the right people as well. Good people know good people. So you really want to basically be out there rather than relying on recruitment consultants. Okay, we have Gabby here, Mini Gabby. Hello, Roger. There is a brand camping place who wants to use Mini Gabby images for merchandising, t-shirts, stickers, posters, etc. What kind of deals should I be making with them? What's the business model for this? Sell and ship stock, license images, royalties, percentage, payment advance, and so on. Okay, well, that's great. First of all, Gabby, you've got that. Secondly, the easiest way is to find out what they would like to do, right? Because it's not a standard model, right? Some people say, hey, we want to do all the merchandising. We just want to pay you a royalty for using your product, right? And then you go, okay, well, how many are you looking to sell? It's like, well, we reckon we'll sell 1,000 t-shirts. It's like, okay, what kind of royalty do you have in mind? It's like, well, we're thinking maybe we'll pay you 10%. All right, and how much are you going to sell it for? It's like, well, we'll sell them at $25 each. So you're doing the numbers, right? It's like $25 times 1,000 is 25,000. I'm going to make $2,500 from this drawing. Is that worth my time? It's like, yeah, that's worth my time. It's like, well, how many are you looking for right now? And I can actually get them together, and I can actually give you a discount, so it's not even 10% if you want. It's like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool, right? And then you make the money you want to make, and they've got the deal they want to make. Let's say instead they go, well, we just want to get the t-shirts, we want to get all the merchandising, we don't get involved in any of that kind of stuff. So can you do all of that? And it's like, well, if we were to do that, how much would you want to buy it for, and how much would you want to sell it for? So now you're talking about actually delivering the product. They might say, well, basically, we just want to have it like sale of return, which means you give us a bunch, we try and sell it at the concert. If it doesn't work, then basically, we give it back to you. Now you're thinking, wow, I'm gonna have to stock if I do that. Is that gonna work out? You might say, well, because something you want to create cash promotion, you don't want to actually having to invest a lot of money to make it happen, right? But but you still get the ideas if you find out what they want to do. They might say, yeah, we just want to ship a bunch of stuff. Last year we sold like 500. We could sell 800 this year. So maybe just give us 800 and we'll see if we can sell them, right? So now you're there thinking, okay. So like now they're going to buy it for 25. They're going to buy it from you for like $10. They're going to sell it for $25. Usually it's like 50-50. Sometimes it's like 1/3, 2/3. But whatever they actually want, don't negotiate with them because it's your first deals, right? For those of you out there who negotiate yourself out of a deal in the early days, remember at the very beginning, you're not the one in the driver's seat. They're in the driver's seat as far as what they want to have. So fit into what they want to have. But if you then say, all right, I'll get you those 800, I'll figure it out, right? And they go, great. So now you've got a deal for $8,000. If that's like 800 times $10 each, let's say, for example. Now you can actually go out to someone who's actually a t-shirt manufacturer and you can say to them, listen, we've got this opportunity right now where we've got this deal. Would you be up for working together? It could be a sale return thing. We could sell, deliver a certain amount, and if you've got the right people who are used to doing this kind of a deal, and same as what I just said for, Glenn and Jen, Glenn and Jane. If you don't know the people in the market who already are supplying the other camps, go find out, right? It's really easy. You just go to the camps and say, where's this t-shirt made from, right? And then you can actually then go and speak to those guys who already are in the business. But you've got the deal now, right? So off the back, and you've got the artwork. So off the back of that, you can then bring the deals together, but never come from a place of unknowing. Always go out and actually meet up with the people that do know, and life gets a lot easier. Pardon me. Okay, Ricardo. Okay. I always struggle with splitting my time according to the plan. I need to learn how to delegate better in order to reduce my wax time, i.e. the time spent in getting things done. Any practical suggestion? I'm thinking of starting some delegating sessions with my managers and putting them out to be delegated in their objectives. Any other proven idea or suggestion? Yeah, it's not to do it that way, right? Because if you're basically saying, right, here's what I need you to do, you've got everyone at orange level time. You need to find yourself a project manager or someone who's willing to basically solve your problems for you, right? If you say, look, here's the problem with get with your most trusted people. Here's the problem with my time. I got these 10 hours in the next 3 days that I'm going to be spending on basically stuff that's not actually helping the business. If I was to have those 10 hours to go out and do this, I actually would help the business this much. What are your ideas? What can we do differently around this? And they go, oh, okay, well, I've got a friend who can come in and help you do that, right? Or, hey, I can take that on myself. Or why don't we split this between two? When they actually come up with solutions, they own the solution. If you go, right, I've got this 10 hours of stuff I need you to do. Okay, all right. I'm busy, I know, but if you could just do this, that would really help me a lot. It's like, all right, okay. They didn't own it. They didn't say that was the solution. That's your solution. So then now they're thinking, geez, now I'm going to do this extra work and I've got this stuff. And they're not even do a good job because they're actually just going through the motions of doing whatever you ask them to do, as opposed to them saying, hey, here's the solution. And then them actually going out there and proving that it is a good solution, right? So just really shift that around from instead of thinking like an octopus, which is that I got to just control everyone and tell everyone what to do. Shift it around and say, here's the problem that I've got. How can we solve this problem? The more your team get involved in actually solving problems for you, the more you free up your own time. Because remember that the difference of a yellow and green level business is, are you worried about the business more than everyone else? Or is everyone worried about their part of the business more than even you are, right? Okay, let's come over to Jacqueline next. Hi, Roger. I'm a creator, and over the years, I've connected with other supporters who have an established team who have the benefit of utilizing some of their team members to help me deliver projects, such as accumulators to complete tasks. However, to be really green, following your 1, 2, 3 step process, i.e. having a supported team member in my own business and then an accumulator, which we talked about earlier, what would that path look like for me? And how could I do that with a coaching and high-performance business? Thanks. Yeah, well, Jacqueline, that would be you having someone now within your business that actually could be there as the supporter. And remember, you don't even need to do this just in your own business. You can do this with every one of your businesses. So working with Joe, for example, who's already a supporter, just make sure that within that team, you've got a third person showing up for those meetings who's an accumulator, right? Or in your mom's sewing business, right? Same thing. It's like if there isn't a supporter to run the business, get a supporter in there and then get an accumulator who's looking after things as well. So, so this can create pedals. Each pedal, you're in the middle, and then you've got the pedal going out and coming back in again with each one of those. You don't need a supporter right now to grow the business because you're already busy doing the stuff you're doing. But if you want one for your mentoring, that will be then saying someone who comes on and supports you as a supporter to go out and do all the marketing for you, and then bring back all the mastermind clients. That will work too, right? But and that person might already be in your network as well. Okay, coming over to Irene and Ian. Care calling now. Hi, Roger. We have completed the genius test, and it has indicated that I, Irene, am a tempo genius, which really is at odds with my profile of a star creator supporter. Ian has come out as Blaze, and he's a creator star mechanic. How do we interpret these results? We both identify with that profile, just a bit confused now with adding in genius. Also, this month is Mother's Day, an ideal time to promote our business. Do you have any thoughts, suggestions? Okay, one more on that second one. Definitely, it's still about making sure you're getting your first customers. So it's not about the Mother's Day. It's about, do you have mums, right? Or do you have people who have mums who need your service? Just focus at the first one or two. You're not looking for 100 customers yet. You're looking for your first one customer, then your first 10 customers. So that's knocking on doors, it's making phone calls, it's speaking to the people in that market, which I know we talked about as well. But to answer the question about those who get confused, how is it possible that I come out as a creator, but then I am a tempo, right? So it means that you're more square. That's what it means, right? So let's say, for example, out of the 4 in the genius test, the tempo ends up being like, what's tempo showing up at the bottom? Ends up being, let's say, 26%. Okay, well, obviously 26% is bigger than any of the other 3 quarters if they're all smaller, which means that you end up tempo, okay? Let's say, on the other hand, when you actually look at the other ones, you see that while you're 26% tempo, you might be 24% dynamo, which is less, but then the rest is split between your blaze and your steel, right? Which means that you got the other, like, what is that, 50%, like 25-25. What that's going to then show, if that's not a good example, no, let's my numbers aren't very good. Okay, let's say steel is higher, right? Let's say steel, that's 24. This one's like maybe 20, I don't know, like 21 or something. And then the bottom one, tempo, let's make it bigger. Let's make it more like 30. But basically, the point is that if you look at the 4, this one becomes strongest. But because they're quite balanced, when you actually combine them the way the Wealth Dynamics does, the actual strategy ends up actually being more creator than it is to be trader, right? Or accumulator or any of the other ones. So that's how that can happen, is that you just are very square, and that's why that takes place. That's okay. That's okay. It just means that you're actually quite grounded as well, and that there's an element of the environment you put yourself into as a genius, like a grounding environment that actually you quite enjoy. But you can be creative in that environment, right? There's a lot of people that are both creator and trader as the 2 main ones that they have, but always the mind takes over, because your creative mind thinks faster than your trader mind. So it's always the first to make a decision. That's why if you're quite even on the 2, you'll still come out as creator. But you might actually find being in a super creative environment actually puts you off a little bit, right? So you're more of a grounded creator than someone who's like super high, like me, head in the class, right? And same for the other ones as well. So that kind of answers that question. So John Allen, hi Roger. I know that I need to start to build a team, and I'm ready to take action, and I've had a few interesting conversations with suitable people. All right, so I feel I need to bring on board 2 key roles. Genius Ignited type salespeople, yes, and project manager, thereby creating the flow of work and then having a team to schedule and ensure completion. As I'm planning to build the teams remotely, how would you suggest I go about doing it? What would be the performance base, and so on. So, well, as it turns out, I actually spoke to John yesterday, and John, as you know, on that conversation, but I'm going to share with everyone as well. Building the team is too early, because John's still proving the model. He's still basically, getting his first clients on board at the level he wants to. He took a holiday, came back, his clients weren't there anymore, so he's having to revamp that. So don't bring on the team yet, especially on the sales side, until you get to those 15 clients, right, which we talked about. Then you can then move up from there, right? So always know there's a right time for everything. You bring them on board now, they're just going to be a cost, and you're going to be there thinking, now I've got more costs that I need to cover, and I'm not even covering myself right now. So you've got to start, first of all, by getting out there and using the one thing you do have, which is your time, to actually get those clients on board, turn that time into money. Once that money comes on board, then you can turn your time into better time by bringing a salesperson and saying, look at this, I'm bringing like 3 people a week by spending like 3 days a week on it, right? You've got 5 days a week, so I want you to use 5 days a week to also bring in 3 a week. I'm going to help you, guide you, come along with me on my sessions, see what I do. All right, now I'm going to come along with you on your sessions, see what you do. Like, go through that process where you're still making the sales every single week, but now you've got someone on board who's now learning what you're doing and then taking over, and then it's like, ta-da, you get your 3 days of time every week back as well. All right, we're coming over to Thomas. I think I've drunk too much coffee today. I've got super high energy. Here's Thomas, Consult Trust. Okay, hi Roger. An important part of our market for our service, Trust and Wealth, is based on a holistic approach to prosperity. To prosperity are network marketing companies. Okay, I think I missed something in that sentence. Can you share any tips how to implement wealth dynamics concept in MLM system, please? Okay. Yeah, we actually created something for Network 21, which is an Amway company, which is called Network Dynamics, where what we did was we actually showed that all the most successful teams in network marketing are actually teams. They're not individuals, right? And every time they use their genius to get there. So, for example, the Dynamos were actually creating a community, a group, which was more creative than any of the other groups out there in a very specific way. Or the Blaze was actually having better parties, right? And more events. And so they were attracting all the right people to there. Or Tempo was having better success stories. Or Steel was having a better system to go meet people one-on-one. There's a good chance that, when you're joining a network, you're looking at certain groups in the network and going, oh, I'd like to be part of that group because they're just having lots of fun. Or, oh, that group, they've got a much better system or whatever it happens to be. And that's how they attract all these different people in. If you're the same as everyone else, then don't be surprised if people aren't joining your team because you're out there chasing the business, right? But network marketing is exactly the same as setting up a retail store, getting stock market trading, investing in a property. It's just a vehicle, right? And just like an aeroplane being a vehicle, it's not whether a vehicle is better or worse. It's whether or not you know how to fly that plane, right? And so basically that has everything to do with you being your natural pathway. It's a leverage mechanism. You still got to create the value to be able to leverage, because if you've got zero value you're delivering into the network, you can multiply zero by a million times, you still got a zero, right? Which is why some people get into it and they end up losing the money and their friends, and other people get into it and actually become very successful. It's not about the system, it's about you working the system, all right? So let's come up, so use your genius, and if you're wondering how to do that, easy, go find other people with the same genius as you who already are in your future, like whatever you want to make, like 10,000 a month or whatever. Go find people in your network already making 10,000 a month, say, I'm coming in, I'm going to help you, I'm going to apprentice with you, I'm going to support you to make more money for yourself, and at the same time, that's going to help me to learn a little bit about what you're up to and what you're doing, and go and support those people. Okay, so next we have got Eunice, time management. How to use my time profitably over the different aspects of my portfolio career, and how do I get the lawyers in my LinkedIn group to interact? There is a deafening silence to the items I post. If they don't respond, react to posts, how likely are they to respond to a call, to attend a webinar, and then to a call to be part of a mastermind group? Guys, I'm going to say something to you guys. You don't make people respond. You like if they're not responding, it isn't actually even because what you're posting is not interesting. They might not even be seeing your stuff. I mean, you have no idea, right? So the only way for you to get people to have a response is for you to actually deliver that response first to them. Meaning, like, not why aren't they paying attention to me? I'm going to ask you, what attention did you pay to them? I mean, like, it's like, pick one person, right? John Smith. Okay. So instead of looking at him saying, why did John Smith not respond to me? Ask yourself, how am I responding to John Smith? What do I know about John Smith? Like what's his problem? Like, to what extent have I actually spent any time whatsoever to really care about the person that I'm kind of like mad at for not responding to me, right? When I invited him into this group and now he's not doing anything in the group, well, why don't I, instead of being curious about why he's not responding to me, just get curious about how I can respond to him, right? So what can I do? I can go look at John, I can look at his profile, I can see what he's up to, I can see he's posting on other people's stuff. Oh, look, he posted on someone's stuff this morning. I'll go have a look at what he's posted. Oh, this guy's posting this thing about time management. He's saying, yeah, I've got that challenge. I'm going to answer that. Hey, John, I know what you mean about that. I've got the same challenge as well, right? And that's what I'm trying to figure out too, right? It's like, how's it going with such and such, right? It's like, like where else is he going? Oh, he's going over here where he's actually just gone and basically posted this article. I'm gonna like his article, or like to the article and say, hey, thanks very much for that, John. That's a super cool article. Like, just start responding to people, because at the beginning you're only looking for 1 or 10 customers. So how difficult is it to actually, now you can't scale that if you go to 10,000, but at the beginning you got the time, right? So why not go out to the people you really care about and say, I'm going to care about them so much that I'm going to know what their problem is. I'm going to know how I'm going to be able to solve their problem. I'm going to keep working at that. My job every day is not to get people responding to me. It's for me to respond to people. And I guarantee if you start from that point where you care more about them than you care about them caring about you, you're going to get business. But if you're waiting saying, why they're not responding to me, then there's a pretty good reason. It's because you're not actually caring enough about you. People don't care what you think until they think that you care. So start by caring, right? Start by really caring them, and one, right? Care one person, right? Then make it 2, then make it 3. You can care for 10 or 20 people a day quite easily, right? And then you'd be amazed at how just a couple of percentage of those start responding to you, and you start conversations up with them as well. And from there, you find out what their real challenge is, what they're up to, and say, hey, I'd really like to help you with that. the next thing you're on a phone call with them and they're basically telling you more about what they're up to and saying, hey, thanks for reaching out. Why are you helping me right now? And it's like, well, I basically just realized that no one was responding to my call, and I decided to look at what you're up to, and I thought, you know what, I can really help you. So that's why I decided I was going to just reach out. She's like, oh, thank you so much for doing that. People really, really care about that kind of stuff, right? The people, if you're on your Facebook group, go and look at the members of the Facebook group, go directly to those people, send them a private message or send them a post or like their stuff, and start basically interacting on a one-to-one basis. And you'll be amazed at how it changes not just your view of them, but it changes your own confidence level. It's like, hey, they actually do care about me. I'm not going to spend all my time posting a content piece that no one's replying to anymore. I'm going to spend my time actually interacting with people, and you'll be amazed at how much you learn about the market as well as how much you learn about yourself. So Phil Healy, finally, inclusive music. Roger, how do I work out fair prices and rates for different organizations? Is it about what they're willing to pay, perceived value? Can this be a different price for different situations, organizations, schools, etc.? And the answer is yes. At the very beginning, it's all about locking in and feeling your way. So you heard what I said to Gabby earlier. Get out there, find out what the problem is, find out what the price point is. Everyone's got a problem they're looking to solve. Everyone's got a certain amount of money and time they're willing to invest to solve that problem. If you don't know what the problem is they're trying to solve, and you don't know what is the time and money they're willing to invest to solve it, there's no way you're going to get any business, right? But if you start with those two things, forget about trying to sell your product, forget about just go and find out who do I really care about. The business doesn't start with the product, it starts with the customer. Who do I really care about? I'm going to go to that person, I'm going to figure it out, right? And once I know what that is, and work on the halo, right? If you can't get to the central decision maker because they're too busy, get to the guys around them, because he's tasking them to figure out the problem. You can give them solutions to go back and look like a hero. They'll go back with those, and before you know it, that person knows about you as well, right? So that was a kind of a nice little ending to our little session. We have a super exciting one coming up in June, so do come join us for that as well. And look out for all the exciting things that are going to be taking place. And look forward to hearing all your success stories in the coming month. Bye.